Hello, and welcome to a bonus book review this week. Today, I want to talk to you about Autumn Bleeds into Winter by Jeff Strand. This particular edition is the hardcover limited edition from Jeff Strand's own Gleefully Macabre line of Thunderstorm Books, but more details on that after the book itself. So Autumn Bleeds into Winter is Strand's title from 2020, from a few years back. This was published in 2021 by Thunderstorm Books, and it is Jeff Strand's attempt at boy's life by Robert McCammon. You know, it's a coming-of-age story. It's not your traditional horror novel from Jeff Strand, just like how Boy's Life wasn't your traditional horror novel from Robert McCammon. And, well, Boy's Life is one of my favorite novels of all time, and I'm not going to lie, this is probably one of my favorite Jeff Strand reads that I've ever read. It's just such a fun read filled with great characters, which, coming off the back of You Suck by Christopher Moore, says a lot. I didn't like the characters in that one, but I loved the characters in this one. So this is a murder mystery of sorts. It takes place in Alaska in 1979, and kids are disappearing, including the best friend of Curtis, our main character, our 14-year-old main character. But there's a twist. Curtis has seen the person who's abducted his friend Todd. He knows who did it. But unfortunately, the police were not able to do anything, and so Curtis decides to take matters into his own hands. If you have never read Jeff Strand, he has a very down-to-earth, conversational tone with his writing that's very easy to read. It's like you're going to blast through this. This is almost 250 pages, but you could honestly read this in a single sitting. It's just a quick and nice read. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the gore or the violence of other Jeff Strand novels, but it makes up for it with charm. Which Jeff Strand usually has some charming characters, even though those charming characters might not be doing charming things. But man, you really fall in love with Curtis as a character. You want to see Curtis solve the disappearance of his friend. You want Curtis to have a great relationship with his very first girlfriend, because it is a coming-of-age novel. So, you know, you are going to have those coming-of-age tropes, such as first love, such as school bullies, but Jeff Strand tackles them all in stride, and he tackles them all incredibly well. I mean, there are some twists and turns that go through it. I mean, honestly, the novel starts off with him confronting the kidnapper. So, you know, if things went perfectly, you'd have a very short novel. But you have some twists and turns that get you from point A to point B with delightful characters along the way. And, man, yeah, it's a fun read. If I had to have one complaint about it, because, you know, I got to nitpick and complain about everything, it would be that the ending is abrupt. I mean, the whole thing is Curtis writing back and reflecting upon his childhood. You know, he's kind of talking about how he's looking back at his 14th birthday and the autumn and summer and first day of winter that then followed. And you do get a conclusion to the story. Things do wrap up. That main plot thread does wrap up. But then the actual, narrating Curtis kind of pulls a Forrest Gump. He's just like, well, that's all I got to say about that. The end. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're done now. Which, I mean, I didn't know what you could possibly put in there. Like I said, you do have a conclusion to the plot itself. It's just, you know, I felt like it could have been a little more fleshed out, if that makes sense. Well, that's mainly a complaint. The actual story itself was brilliant. The narration was totally fine. The characters were incredibly enjoyable. So if he wants to Forrest Gump it and just, you know, end it, then let him do it. You know, that's what it is. Basically, you know, Chapter 24, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. He says, a lot happened after that. You know, there's a lot. This is after, you know, the plot's been resolved. This is his epilogue. And we're looking at 2.5 pages. It's a very short and brief epilogue, which is disappointing. But, you know, I can't really fault him for it because the novel itself was terrific. Plus, Jeff Strand doesn't ever stop writing. So he clearly needed to move on to the next 8 novels that he was going to publish after this, because this dude publishes like 2 books a year, if not more. He just I don't know when he sleeps. So as I said, this is the Thunderstorm Books edition. It is sold out now. This was actually only available to whoever pre-ordered it during like a month-long pre-order period. Just like all other Thunderstorm editions, you get beautiful end papers. This was limited to 100 copies, of which this is 52. It does feature some artwork by Lynne Hansen, who has signed it here along with Jeff Strand. There ended up being 5 titles. Was it 5 or 6? There weren't many titles in the Gleefully Macabre or Macabre line from Jeff Strand, likely due to personal reasons. Jeff Strand has published several Black Voltage titles through Thunderstorm in the past. Without getting into any great details, I don't think he's on the best of terms with Lynne Hansen anymore. So I don't think, I think that's probably why this line has come to an end. But he is switching back over to Black Voltage titles. His new book, Veiled, is getting a Black Voltage edition from Thunderstorm, which, if you're watching this right when it's uploaded here in the month of April, you can go pre-order a copy of Veiled. It's available for the month of April. So April 1st through April 30th. Any number of copies sold during that month is going to be the limitation. So it's going to be a gorgeous edition. If you're a fan of Jeff Strand, you should hopefully already have a copy. If you're not a fan of Jeff Strand, or if you're not a fan of Jeff Strand, I'm amazed you watched this far into the video. If you're not familiar with Jeff Strand, I highly encourage you to check him out. If you want to start off with the more accessible novel, I would highly recommend Autumn Bleeds into Winter. If you want more of his bloody, gore, splatterpunky horror or visceral horror, check out the Wolf Hunt trilogy. That is my go-to for him. It's superb. If you are an audiobook listener, the entire Wolf Hunt trilogy can be had for one single credit. They have all 3 books packaged into one. It's incredible. I mean, Jeff Strand is referred to as the Clown Prince of Horror because he manages to perfect that fine line between horror and comedy. He gets the best of both worlds. And the comedy still shines through with Autumn Bleeds into Winter. Even if it's not a horror novel, the comedy is still there. But with the Wolf Hunt trilogy, you're going to get that beautiful blend of horror and comedy. But seriously, check out Jeff Strand. Check out Thunderstorm Books. I actually think I did unboxing videos for every title of the Gleefully Macabre line. So you can check those out on my channel. I have a couple other Jeff Strand unboxings on my channel as well as one book review a week on Tuesdays, and sometimes bonus book reviews like this one right here. So please consider subscribing to the channel. Check out Jeff Strand. Check out Thunderstorm Books. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.